Greetings friends and acolytes of the galaxy, and welcome back to the channel. For a while now, we have been covering the relationship that Sidious had with Mother Talzin, and how it has influenced how he ran his entire operation during the Clone War. Some time ago, we detailed why Darth Sidious was actually afraid of Mother Talzin and her power, and how this fear developed into a paranoia as he began systematically cutting off all ties to anything relating to Dathomir, the world as a whole. First, he ordered Dooku to eliminate Ventress. Then he allowed Grievous and the Separatist army to decimate the Night Sister Coven itself, and finally, he went to face down Maul and Savage Opress on Mandalore. It wouldn't be until the canon Son of Dathomir comics that Sidious would finally slay Mother Talzin once and for all, ending his biggest rival. But even after his absolute victory, Sidious still never returned to Dathomir, and left it entirely alone during the reign of the Empire. All of this evidence points to a possible question we would like to pose. Does Darth Sidious actually fear Dathomir, and if he does, why? This is a pretty hefty question to ask, as it assumes that Darth Sidious would concede to being afraid of anything related to the dark side, rather than embracing it outright. However, what we want to do today is simply bring to light some rather suspicious evidence and open a discussion with all of you as to whether or not he does. So without further ado, the council is in session. Did Darth Sidious fear Dathomir, and if so, why? Let's first retrace our steps and very briefly re-establish why Palpatine is weary of Mother Talzin, as this could give us a deeper idea of Dathomir itself. Originally, they were actually friends, and at one point exchanged secrets of the dark side. As word of the Night Sister Coven was beginning to spread over the galaxy, Sidious himself made a trip to Dathomir to meet formally with Mother Talzin. The two got along rather well, and even traded knowledge with each other of various dark powers and rituals. Sidious was originally going to appoint Mother Talzin to be his Sith apprentice, but then at the very last moment changed his mind and took Darth Maul instead, Talzin's own flesh and blood, having sensed his innate power in the dark side. Darth Sidious swiped the young boy in the dead of night and left Dathomir without a trace. Since then, Mother Talzin had sworn an oath of vengeance against Sidious and all the Sith affiliated with him. Palpatine was very well aware of Talzin's power and went through extreme lengths to make sure that he was safe from her, which resulted in a healthy portion of suspicion and paranoia regarding any and all things concerning Dathomir and the Night Sisters overall. Talzin was just as cunning and crafty as Darth Sidious was, and her mysterious magical abilities transcended what most Jedi and Sith could do during this period of time, and possessed secrets that even Darth Sidious did not know. Even though Sidious himself was quite well versed in sorcery at the time, his magic was nowhere near of the level of that of Mother Talzin, who specialized in dark side magics. Keep in mind that these events happened long before the events of the Phantom Menace, which meant that Darth Plagueis was still alive, and Palpatine was still very much his apprentice and not the Sith Master. This would almost be 20 years before he would betray his master and become the Dark Lord of the Sith, so he indeed had a reasonable amount of fear and respect for Mother Talzin. Every Sith assassin and apprentice that came from Dathomir was remarkably strong in the dark side. Savage, Maul, Ventress all showcased this perfectly, as even though Maul was cut in half and thus reduced his midichlorians and therefore his force potential, he was still an absolute force to be reckoned with, one who could contend with Sidious at the lightsaber at least for a good amount of time. Despite Ventress herself being a former Jedi, she still grew too strong for Palpatine's comfort levels, and decided to make a preemptive strike by ordering her demise at the hands of Dooku. Unbeknownst to him, however, this action would play right into Mother Talzin's hands, as Ventress survived her attempted assassination and returned to her roots by rejoining with the Night Sister, giving Mother Talzin another valuable asset. This would come back to be a thorn in Sidious's side, as Ventress again began seeking retribution on Dooku by infiltrating his ranks with Savage Opress. Word of this would of course reach the ears of Sidious directly, who would have to go and deal with both Maul and Savage Opress personally. Sidious would not meet Talzin again for some time, and although he had substantially grown in power since then, he knew better than to not assume the exact same thing about her. Sidious very much respected the Night Sister's magic and the sorcery sorcery of Dathomir itself. As a dark side nexus, Darth Sidious held a great respect for it, as he knew that the Night Sisters appear to draw their magic directly from the world around them. However, this was a magic that Darth Sidious did not understand and was not ingrained in Sith lore. Darth Sidious did have a major critique of the Night Sisters though, as he found them to be too conservative and thought them lacking ambition. Sidious even remarks in the Book of the Sith that if the Night Sisters so wanted, they could easily take over the galaxy, but simply by lack of confidence and motivation to do so, they did not. In Talzin's chapter in the Book of the Sith, she detailed a section devoted to talismans and totems of their creation. Sidious would go on to note that despite what the Dathomiri preach, which is that they don't inherently believe in the dark or light side of the Force at all, that these talismans aren't too far removed from Sith amulets. He then wonders why none of the Sith alchemists ever attempted to duplicate the Night Sisters' methods in creating these talismans. Later, Sidious would go on to say that when he builds his empire, he plans to blockade and make Dathomir a prison, keeping what Night Sisters remain hidden in captivity. It is clear to us by this indication that he respects their magical ways, perhaps not to the level of outright fear, but definitely a healthy concern, even for the world of Dathomir itself. The witches are his dark side rivals after all, and Sidious eradicates all of his rivals after he builds the empire. However, he merely plans to imprison the Night Sisters. But why is this? Why not destroy them all? Mother Talzin gives a lot of explanation as to how their magic works, and how they draw upon a substance known as ichor, which runs through the very veins of Dathomir as a planet. This is why their force abilities and magic results in this green tint, unlike many of the machinations and power of the dark side. Sidious doesn't comment on any of this, which is unfortunate, as we don't know his true thoughts about this ichor or Night Sister magics. However, we theorize that perhaps Sidious doesn't want to mess with Dathomir because he is mystified and confused by it. Yet, he still respects it as a part of the dark side, just not Sith in origin, but a part of him that he simply doesn't understand. Because he can't understand this aspect of the Force, he rejects it and nurtures a generous amount of caution around it. So to answer the question outright, does Darth Sidious fear Dathomir? We believe here at the channel to somewhat he actually does. But even more than this, he respects this version, an iteration of the dark side that he is unfamiliar with, and seems to be exclusive with the Night Sisters as well as Dathomir as a planet, which is the exact reason why he does not desire to destroy it. But now we turn it over to you. What do you think, my friends? And we would like to invite all of you to discuss your thoughts in the comments down below, based on the information we have provided in this video, and see what conclusion you ultimately come to. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching the channel. May the Force be with you, and I hope that you have a great day.